Welcome to the coloring portion of my video, and welcome to the Summertime 2023 event for Stamp Anything. A lot of cute digital stamps drawn by Annie. Mine is a chibi doll that is going down a water slide. And I believe this girl's name is Rebecca, because there's another stamp that looks just, her hair is just like this one, so I think it's Rebecca. Okay, so anyway, this is her on an inner tube going down a water slide. And what we'll do is we'll color her up and then we'll put her on a card. And we're keeping it kind of simple. I'm going to have some pattern paper from the, let's see, it's the paper pack that came out, I believe, last summer called Beach Day. So I'll be using some papers from Beach Day to create the splashy water for the background. Okay, so let's get started with our coloring first. And I want to let you know that coloring water is not one of my expertises. So I'm going to keep the water kind of simple and make it look like a little bit of splashy. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing for her. Okay, let me see if I can brighten it up a little bit here. I hope that's not too bright. But I am blind, so I need a little light here. Okay, and I've already drawn the circles around her eyes. The colors I'm using are right here, and I'll put the marker cap on my little coaster. Okay, we'll start off with her skin, E04, E11, E21, E00, and E50. So let me get my markers ready. And I've had to order a new E00. It hasn't come in yet, but I have this one that I have has a crack on the cap, and you can barely see it, but it's drying out my marker pretty fast. So I've ordered a new marker. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the lightest color, E50, and I'm going to base coat her skin first, just to get the paper a little wet. Most of the time I don't have to do that, but I'm going to do it with this one because it's a pretty large stamp, and this way it'll be easier to smooth out her skin. Okay. So she's got a lot of skin. I'm going to do, I'll do her face, and then I'll come back and do the rest of her body. So just going to put down the light layer. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point, not the first layer, but have enough of it so it's kind of soaking the paper a little bit. Okay. Some ears all the way around her eyes. And these are all digital stamps, but for this one, I had Annie create it so it fits pretty much on an A2 size card from edge to edge, but we're going to cut a little bit off so that we could put a border around it and have it little, like a little frame around our card. So it makes it a little bit prettier. So just put this E50 down. Okay. Now we'll use E04. We'll go from dark to light. Around her hairline. I always say I'm not going to try to get my head in the camera. So no promises, because sometimes I just have to lean over for some of the fine lines. So here in Northern California today, it's feels like summer. We've had some pretty hot weather. It's going to be around 93 today. E11. And this, while I'm filming, it's still May, but I anticipate by the time this shows on June 3rd, it will be very hot here. But I like the hot weather better than cold, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to create a little shadow around her eyes with the tip of my pen or my marker. I cleaned my markers a little bit here and there. I cleaned the tips so they're a little bit back to the original color. Then when you don't clean the tips of your markers, they get a little bit darker. So I've actually cleaned them so they're the original colors. E21. Bring it around. So what's it like in your neck of the woods today? Is it hot? Is it still cold? Humid? We don't get too much humidity here. Just hot and dry. So yeah, let me know in the comments where you're from and what the weather's like. And if it's a good time to visit in the summertime. Some places tell you not to go in the summer because it's too hot and humid. Okay, this is E21. E00. The best time to come to California, Southern California is pretty nice most of the time, is spring and fall. But if you like it hot and you want to go in the water like rafting, you come in the summer. This year they're warning everybody because we had so much rain and so much snow that they really don't want too many people in the water. But if you're rafting or something like that too, you have to wear a life jacket and stay in the boat. Okay, and then my last color again is the E50. Just smooth it out all the way around, leaving a highlight on her forehead. Yeah, I used to, when I was younger, I used to go rafting down the river, but I don't think as I get older, I'm not as brave. I don't want to get thrown out of the boat anymore. Okay, the dark colors fade a little bit. I'm not going to use the E04 because you can see how dark it already is, but I am going to put some E11 back on. A little bit here. And back around her eyes. Okay. On her nose. Yeah, so no, I'm not brave like I used to be, so water sports is not one of my favorite things to do anyway, since I'm not a good swimmer. And go back around. This is E21, the one that goes all the way around her chin. Making a second coat really makes a difference on her skin. E00. Boating is a big thing in my town, Sacramento, because we have a lot of rivers here where people like to water ski. Not my thing either. Okay, and then E50. Just smoothing it out. Okay, now we're going to do the rest of her skin. Oh, same thing, E50. I'm going to base coat her skin here. Her arm. And then her legs. She's wearing, I'm thinking, flip-flops. So I'm just going to color right over the strap there, except not coloring the bottom of her shoe. Okay, so that's her lightest coat. Okay, let's put in the shadows with E04 under her chin and around her bathing suit. And there will be a little shadow on her shoulder, probably caused by her head, a little bit. And then where the sun's going to come down, the bottom of her arm will be a shadow. Again, I'm using the tip of my pen because her arms are very skinny, up to her fingertips. And there's a finger there, just dot it, and her thumb. The same with the other hand and the arm. We'll dot here, underneath, and under her thumb. Okay. And then, let's see, smooth that out a bit. Then her legs are, okay, so we have to put the shadow, be consistent with the arm, so it would be underneath her leg here. And then this knee and leg is covering this leg, so it'll cause a little shadow there. Okay. And her shoe, just a little bit here on the edges. Same with this leg, let's be consistent. And plus she's kind of sitting inside the inner tube, So that also causes a little shadow here, along with her, maybe her bathing suit, but just a little bit, okay? And let's see, I think that's good. A little bit there. Okay. E11. Let's go back to her neck. Bring it down a little bit. So I'm just going to go over the dark shadows and increasing a little bit of that line. There's the other hand. The finger is almost colored already. And her leg. So with the second color, what I like to do is I like to create more of like a, not the cast shadows that the sun is causing, but more of a form shadow. So I'm going to come back up here and create it on her arm. On her leg too. Curve that around. Now we're going to move on to our midtone, E21. I'm just going to keep extending the prior color. So anybody have any vacation plans this year? I don't have anything planned because I'm retired. We can go anytime, kind of spur of the moment sometimes. But I don't have anything planned yet. Maybe something in the fall. I don't like to go during peak time. It's too crowded and too hot if I go someplace. A lot of people and crowds. So we go off season. Only thing about off season vacation is things close a little bit earlier, but that's okay. We just spend more days there. Okay, E00. Last year we went on an Alaskan cruise. We might do some kind of cruise if we can find a good deal. Try to smooth out the arms. We still we have one more color. We're going to leave the highlight. I did like the cruise I went last year. Everything you pay up front, and then when you go on the cruise, you don't have to carry money or anything. So it's kind of nice. Don't have to worry about if you brought enough money, or you know, to tip the people or anything, you just do it all at one time at the very end, or you know, you prepay your tips in the beginning. Finger there. Smooth out the leg a little bit. There's a nice tan. And I think I'm going to hit it with E11, just a little bit on her arms here. Smooth it out. I've lost a little bit of color here. I think her legs can use a little bit more, but she is in the sun. I want her to have tanned legs. Go back to E21. Makes a big difference when you put that second coat on. Smooth it out a little bit. Don't have to add too much more color. I don't want to fade it out. And then E50. Okay. I think the skin looks pretty good. All right, let's move on. We got to do her cheeks and her tongue. So let's find my cheek color is R20, and then the tongue R22, R20. Okay. So let's do her cheeks first. I hope I make them a little bit rosy because she is outside in the sun. So let's just flick some color here. And we'll let it dry a little bit. We'll add a second coat. Okay, so let that dry, and I'll move on to the tongue. R22. R20. A little highlight on the top there, and let's put a little bit more color on her cheeks. I figure she's outside, her cheeks will be very rosy. Okay, and just because there's a little harsh edge there, take your E00, E00, and just smooth it out ever so slightly. Okay. So that's her face. We'll come back and do the highlights in her eyes with the white gel pen later, since we are going to use our white gel pen for the water as well. Okay. So let's move on to the hair, because she has lots of hair. And I wanted to kind of make her a summer hair, so a little bit of strawberry blonde color, brunette, blonde, and strawberry kind of all combined. So the last color I'll be using for the highlight would be an RV 21. So we're going to start with the darkest E29, then 25, 23, 21, and then the RV. Okay. So let's start on this right side. Okay, she's got lots of hair today. E29. I'll start off with the roots of her hair. I think I'm gonna take both caps off because I filled these up and I don't want it to blob out. Okay. Can you all see that? Just, I don't want to keep moving it. All right. Here's the center of her head. So let's create a little part here. And I'm just gonna flick some short ones and some long ones. And this is a pretty dark brown, so don't add too much in the beginning. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it around and flick up. Here's some hair that's falling down. And this one is over this one, so I'm going to make this one a little darker here. And then flick this one up a little bit. The tips, just a little. Okay, this giant piece of hair is falling on this one. So let's put here, and we can add a little more shadow on that one, and bring it all the way down because this is covering the other section as well. Okay. And this, again, the big piece is covering that piece here. So you want to add a little shadow there, okay? And then, of course, this one is covering that piece there. Same here. All right. Looks good for now. Let's put a little strand here. Okay. And we can always come back and add more dark. So, E25. I'll take both caps off this one. I know I filled that one a lot too. Okay. What I'm going to do is go over the strand I put, plus add a few more. And longer. Okay. Now if you find pulling down easier, like going this way, I'll leave it up to you, which way you like. Just keep flicking. And if you want your hair lighter, you can put less of this brown too. Just put less strands. Okay. And I'm going to pull this further down. That's a long strand of hair. Okay. So we'll do that side. Got lots of hair, so we want to do one section at a time. E2, 3, same thing. Add more strands. Make sure you leave room for all your colors. Sometimes if you make your strands too long, you'll run out of room. So like here it's small, so I want to just keep it small. Okay. E2, 1. This is a little bit too dark for me, so I'm going to lighten this up a little bit right here. Okay. I know I kind of have to sometimes fuss over it just to get it how I like it. Okay. And now we'll add a little bit of pink, RV2, 1. Give it a little strawberry blonde kind of color. It's summer here, so we want it to be light and fun. Turn this around a little bit. How's it look? A little bit more here. It probably looks different on camera than it does in real life because I can see it pretty pink, but I don't know if you can see it as pink as I can see it pink. Maybe when I photograph it, it'll be easier to see. Okay. Let's do the other side of her hair. Well, we can finish the rest. I think we can do the rest. Okay, E2, 9. Start off with the crown here. There's a little bit here. It's hard to get some above her ears. And then I'm going to use the second color to create the shadow behind her head so it's not so dark. Okay, so all I'm going to do is pull some of this hair down. And the same with under her arm here. Pull it all the way. And some of the small ones just go all the way. Longer parts just keep it short. Okay, just a shadow here. I'm keeping it at the same angle as she has the hair, so keep it this way. And this one's a little bit curvy. Okay. E25. And we'll pull these down as well and create a little shadow around her head. And I'll create one around her ear here. Pulling it down. And some will go up. I don't know if you guys can hear my daughter's dog. He's over here. I think he wants to go outside. Over there crying. He probably sees a squirrel. Let's go outside and play with the squirrels. I'm going to create a little bit of line here. I'll pull some strands a little bit longer. They're a little bit short. Okay. E23. I'm going to probably have to let the dog out. So if I do, I'll just pause this a little bit and let him out. He likes being outside. It's not too hot yet. He's a big dog, so I don't want him to have any accidents in the house. So I might have to go let him out here soon. After I finish the hair, I will let him out. That's one thing, the beauty of a video. I can just put on pause for a second and come back. It's a little dark here, so I'm going to lighten that up. Okay. 2 more colors. E21. Back up here. I leave room for the pink, so I don't want to put too much of this color down. Okay. And RV21. Let's put this one here. I don't know if you guys can see this pink, but it's really pretty color. I think it'll photograph well. It might not video well, but it'll photograph well. Put this down here. He's still crying over here, so I'm gonna let him out. I just have a little cleanup to do. I went over the line here. Okay, that's the hair. Oh, let's put a little bit more here. See, when you just go back and see if you want it darker. That looks better. Okay, that's the hair. I don't know if you can see the pink. Let me angle it. Yeah. Okay. Let me go let the dog out. Be right back. Okay, so I've let the dog out so he can go play outside. Okay, now we're going to move on to the green inner tube. And the colors are YG67, YG17, YG07, and YG03. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to base coat it with the lightest color first, just to make it easier to blend. Okay, so YG03 is what I'll start off with. Oops. And this kind of helps clean up the little mess I made there. She's going to have a red bathing suit, so I want to do her bathing suit last, because red is one of those colors that will just smear onto the color if I get it too close to another color. So I want to make sure I do that last. So has anybody gone water slides before? No, I haven't done it since I was probably in my late 20s. Probably the last time I ever did it. Maybe it was early 30s. But it was a lot of fun. I don't recall it being on an inner tube, though. I think it was more like on a mat, because I remember having to carry the mat up the stairs and then slide down. Okay, I'm going to create my shadows first. So she's going to cause some shadows, and then the inner tube underneath here. Yeah, we have several water slide places here locally. One is where they hold the, I don't know if it's still there, actually not sure if it's still there, where they hold the California State Fair. They have the water slide park there, and then they have a thing called Golfland Sunsplash, where they have miniature golfing and water slides. But once, you know, kids go from time to time when they were younger, but I don't think any of my kids are older now. I don't think they go anymore. Well, my son doesn't live in town, but, and he's in his 30s, so I don't know he goes. Let's create a little. This might cause a little shadow, maybe. Okay. YG17. Okay, this one doesn't have a label, but it's, well, I'll put this one down. YG17. But I'm not an amusement park person anymore. You know, when you get older, it's not as thrilling. I think maybe we do it for our children, but just the thought of walking all day at an amusement park is not my kind of vacation. It's not. I'm more into more restful vacations now. So I haven't been to water park in years. But if I got invited to go, I probably would go. I don't know if I'd go down the water slide, but I'd go just to hang out. Okay, YG07. This is a very juicy pen, so I'm better take the cap off. And let's leave some highlights there. And YG03, back to the lightest color. Blend it around. Okay, that looks good. It's pretty well blended. I don't have to do too much to the green. This juicy pens really help. Okay, let's do the handle. It's going to be gray. N7, N4, N3. If you don't have N's, remember you could use your C's, your T's, or your W's. Or if you don't have any grays, pick a color you like. Okay, N3. Okay. Now we're going to do her red polka dot swimsuit. I'm only using 3 reds, R37, R35, and R32. So we will base coat it with R32. Red is one of those you should try to base coat because it's so hard to blend. Well, for me anyway. And I'm always more careful with red because I don't want it to bleed into another color because it's so hard to fix. Okay. All right, let's do R37. And because I did also refill this one, take the caps off. Do a shadow on her shoulder, the strap there. And down here where it's caused by her sitting in the inner tube. Let's give her some form here. Maybe a little crease. Yeah, we're going to do polka dots because kind of goes with the water, the theme, and you know, have a lot of dots going on with the water. R35. Let's see if that can create a little crease there. Oh, she's got a little bend, just a little bit. Okay, red is one of those that I cannot put a lot down or it'll start looking kind of sticky and strange, so I'm not going to put 2 coats on this little girl. Okay, so let that dry and then we'll put some white dots on her outfit. Okay, I'm going to do the water because there's a lot of water, but I'm only using 3 colors because the water at the water park is usually pretty clear, and I'm just going to do a light blue, actually three of the light blues. So it's B02, 01, and 00, and I'll base coat the whole thing with the B00. Okay, and I'm going to have both caps off because we can use the chisel point as well, okay, because it just makes coloring faster. But to go around the small parts, I'm going to use the fine tip. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the green part of her slide, but I will do that. I'll come back and do that. Okay, go all the way around. I like summer because I always color with brighter colors. I have a hard time with pastel colors. Maybe it's a mental block because I do like bright colors. And so I'm really enjoying summer colors. Okay, you know, we also have to color her shoes. And I'll do that as well. Okay, so once you've kind of created this outline, we can actually use the chisel point. So give an opportunity for you guys to use your chisel point and color twice as fast. And color it all the way to the end of the paper. We will trim some off, but we're going to have to measure it on our card base, how much to cut off. So color it all the way to the end. Okay. So mix it. You don't have to come back and bring your marker out again. Just color to the end. So if you're coloring along with me, hopefully you didn't swap out your chisel point with a different type of point, because sometimes it just really is helpful to have that chisel point. Edge here. Okay. All right, same with this side. We're going to carefully go around her hair first. Okay, and then we can use the chisel point again. So if you're coloring along, this is, see how fast it goes. Because rarely do we have the opportunity to use the chisel point. We're always using the fine tip. Okay, color all the way to the edge, okay? All right. While that is drying, because what we're going to do is we're going to add a dark color, and then we're going to add white gel pen. While that is drying though, I'm going to add the green parts to the slide. So that's pretty much still the green that I've listed here. Same green colors. Okay, YG07, 17, 07, and 3. Okay. So again, kind of base coat it with your YG03. Color to the end. Watch out for her little hand. This one's a real fun one to color. You could do the water however you want it. It could be a calm water, it could be wild water. Mine's gonna be kind of in between, I guess. Okay, now we're gonna go with the dark color, and what I'm gonna do is the closest to the water will be dark, and then higher is going to be lighter. So again, using the tip of your pen, I'm going to just go along the edge. And she will cause a shadow. All the way to the edge here. The same with this side. So on here, let's see, what did I decided to do on this one, because I think it was the top part is here and this is the darker part here. And her hair, go around it, okay. And I'm going to try to get all 4 colors into the edge here of the slide. YG17. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's coloring to have fun, okay? Okay, then we're at YG07. I'm trying to smooth out all those edges. So in the last video, I told everybody I had this carpal tunnel issue. Well, I finally went to the doctor, and they said it's not carpal tunnel, although I have carpal tunnel, but the pain is from tendonitis. So they gave me this brace that I'm supposed to wear, you know, if I'm not coloring or if I'm just sitting around, I guess. Because I can't bend my thumb backwards. So, or they don't want you to bend your thumb backwards. So I have to wear this brace. So they said it's tendonitis. So I don't know what I did to cause that pain, but it's not from, she says, no, it's not from coloring. It's probably from, maybe from exercising or something, or lifting something I shouldn't have. But the pain is a lot better now than it was before. I couldn't even lift up my purse. So now it's okay. All right, that's the green, the part of the slide. We're gonna finish our water. Okay, so this is gonna be the part where you're gonna use your blues, and then you're gonna use white gel pen. So whatever size white gel pen you have, but the bigger, the faster and easier. So I have the Stamp Anything white gel pens. I have a couple of these, okay, and those are actually, I believe a size 8, okay. Then I have the Jelly Roll ones that are size 10, so they're even bigger. But you can use either one to use. But 10 is a little bit bigger and it'll go faster, but you might want a combination of 8 and 10 because you could do bigger and smaller dots, okay? But for the waves, you probably want the 10 so that you could color faster, okay? So the only thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some ripples around her inner tube, and then just some little bit of waves that are in front and behind her just to show the flow of the water. So we'll start with the inner tube part first, because I want to show it like the water, there's some water movement there. And like I said, I am not an expert when it comes to water, but I think it's okay the way it looks. Okay, so I'm going to create some shadow first around, a pretty big shadow around the water. Okay, so create this with your B02. So I'm going to create this ring that goes all the way around, and try to make the ring kind of proportion to the inner tube, of course. Okay. And then I'm going to use my next color, my B01. and make the ring even bigger. Okay, so I'm going to create it so it's a little bit lighter, but I'm going to make the ring bigger, like a ripple. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to use the lightest color, B00, and because it's the same color as the base coat, but now you're adding a second coat, it'll look darker than the base. Okay, so we're going to add that as well to make the ripple look a little bit bigger. Okay, so we can darken that by doing the same thing again. So we'll do BG02, because when we add the white, it shows up better if your blues are a little bit darker. Okay, and we have to remember to color her shoe. Okay. So just 2 layers of the blues. Back to B02. Oop, wrong one. B01. We just did 2. 1. And then B00 again. It does have to be perfect because we're going to add some white, make it look a little more splashy. Okay. All right, so now you have this ring. Okay? You're going to take the darkest one again, B02, and you're going to add just some little weight, you know, like rings around it, like this. So it looks like some ripples. Just a few here and there. Okay. And at this time, use your B02 again, and we'll create some waves in the back because she just came from there, so it's going to be some waves. Okay, and we're not going to make it look like waves like in the ocean. Okay, she's coming down a slide. Okay, so this is what we're just going to do. Okay. And then there was probably someone before her as well, because you know they go back to back, right? Now let's just add a few here. Okay, just randomly add those on there. Okay. And this is where you're going to take your white gel pens and you're going to add some waves and dots. Okay, so where you had this wave here, you're going to add the white to it. Okay, so right above it, I'm adding the white gel pen. Okay, and if you want to make it thicker, you can just add it like so and color it in. Now, if you don't want to make them thick like this, you can leave them just one stroke. But usually, when you add this white to make it thicker, makes like it's a taller wave. Okay, but I want right next to the one I drew, as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then color some smaller, some bigger. Okay, that's all you're gonna do. Just create the the look of a little bit of water movement. Like that, okay? And then the same with this one here. And if you don't have a white gel pen, you can use a paintbrush and some acrylic paint. Or if you don't want to add the white, just leave it blue. But the white adds a little bit more motion to the water. And this dries pretty fast. And see, look, I'm not even doing it right on the pen and it still looks okay. So let that dry for a second, okay, like this. And then for this round part here, you're gonna do kind of the same thing. You can add a couple of, I probably should do the waves last like I did the first time. Just add a couple here and there to make it look like she's swirling a little bit. Okay. And then you can use your gel pen and you're going to add a bunch of dots around. You can add them all different sizes because it looks good, like the water is kind of a little splashy around her. And it just makes it stand out more. And if your gel pen is like mine, very juicy, it goes pretty fast, okay? And if you want to add some smaller dots, you can use the number 8 gel pen, add some more. You want quite a few, make it look like there's a lot of water here, okay? You can even add some wavy ones if you want. The more you add, the more it looks like she's moving faster down. Okay. I find the number 10 pen makes the bigger dots, it goes faster. Add some few here and there, all over. To make splashy water. Okay, and at the same time, you could put the whites, dots on her eyes, or her highlights. And since I'm here, I'm also remember to put the color on her shoe, which I'm using R35, which is the mid-tone of the red. Okay, so trying to let that dry. I'm just going to add, just so it looks like she's wearing red flip-flops. Okay. It's so small, don't even try to put a shadow in there because you won't be able to see it. Okay. And if you want to continue adding more white dots, you can, but you don't really, you know, it's up to you how much of the dots you want, okay? Then you add some dots to her swimsuit. Okay. And if you want, add more. But you get the idea. It looks like she's kind of swirling around, going down the water slide with some splashy water. Okay. Let's put a few here and there. Okay. So this is the coloring portion of the card. And let me set up for the craft portion, which will go really fast. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, welcome to the craft portion of this card. Very simple to do. I use the Beach Day paper, and there's several blue ones with waves. There's this one, there's some with bubbles. There's this wave one here. And then there's a couple of them with the sun or kind of yellow. So just choose a blue one and a yellow one that you like to do the background, because this squiggle matte die is what I'm using to make it look like the water is splashing outside of the slide. Okay, so I cut out 2 of them, and then I just sliced them in half with my paper trimmer so that you have 2 pieces, because one, the water looking one, the blue, is going to go on top of the yellow just to keep it matted and look kind of more decorative, I guess. So what we first need to do is we need to cut this out, what we've colored, okay? Because I wanted to add this behind her, I need to color it, and then I'm going to cut this out. But see how simple it is, okay? And I'm going to leave a little bit of white, and I do that with all of my stamps. I always leave a white border, because when you're using pattern paper, it just stands out more. A lot of people like to cut to the edge, and that's okay too, but for me, I always keep a little edge, and to me, it's easier to cut. But a lot of people say it's easy to cut directly on the line. I find it easier to cut with a white spacing. If I cut on the line, sure enough, I'll cut off the line, but this way, if I'm a little bit off, I'm still pretty good with where I'm at, okay? So just cut her out like this, and then we're going to use cardstock, which is just use any aqua paper you have, okay? This is A2 size, and then another piece of white matte, which here are the sizes here, of white cardstock, any kind of white cardstock, because this is going to be the matte on top now, being that we had to cut this one out, okay? So what we're gonna do is, we can put this aside for now, because we don't need it yet, but we're gonna place her, and see why I said to color to the edge, because we're gonna trim some of it off. And you're gonna put her where you want to place her, maybe in the middle, off to the side, however you wanna do it. But because of the way the slide is looking, and you colored to the end, you could put it as close as you want to the edge. Okay, we're going to trim it off with some scissors. So for now, I'm going to just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to probably want her here. And then you're going to take your splashes and you're going to put it underneath. Now this one, when you face the squiggle mat this way, I always think of this as the bottom, okay? But I find that this piece here, which was on the left side, goes better when you turn it and put it on the bottom here, okay, on the corner edge here. It just because there's less room and these were a little bit sticking out more, so that will go that corner, and then this one will go on this corner here. Okay. So you're gonna make sure that when you put this down, that these will be sticking out. So if you could just push them to the corner, to the edges, you're sure to cover that area, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna glue these pieces down. I've got my Stamp Anything glue, and okay, what I'll first do is I'm going to glue the blue piece on top of the yellow, okay? So let's start with that. See if the glue will come out. Pokey, pokey. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh, here it goes. Of course it globs out, right? Okay. And I will spread it a little bit since it globbed out. And just keep it a little bit off so that it creates a little shadow. Same with this side. All right. So if I'm going to put this one on this corner, this one over here, I just want to make sure that when I put her on the splash, it covers everything. Okay, so that's what I'll do. Put some glue. Because if you've been to the water slides, the water is usually all over the place, splashing out. This one on that corner. And this will be here. Yeah, there's very little you'll have to cut off. Okay, so just glue it down. This is the part that goes really fast. Okay. The splashy part. And then I can turn it over and trim it. See how it sticks out a little bit? I can trim that with a scissor. But you do want to print it full size. So the size that was created, you want to print it full. Okay. And then we're going to put it on our card base. And we do have 2 sentiments available with this stamp. You choose the one you want. We have one that says, have a splashing summer, and another one that says, have a splashing birthday. So we are going to use have a splashing birthday because I need a birthday card. So that's what I'm going to do. And because they're digital, you just print them out and you just trim them down. Okay. I'm going to put this one here. Same thing, I'm just going to glue it flat because it's pretty bulky already with the layers. And I'll leave it up to you if you want to add any other embellishments, but I'm going to keep my card just like this because I'm giving this card to a 1-year-old and I don't want her to pick off the like jelly dots or sequins or anything. So here's your card. Have a splashing birthday, and it's top folding. And it's fun to do. Thank you for joining me today, and I will be watching the rest of the design team and participating in all the coloring. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.